Hello, great, welcome to this presentation. So here I am going to demonstrate the analysis of a base plate that is subjected to both an axial load P and a moment M using the ETABS software. So as usual, let me straight away take you to the problem statement. So the analysis of a base plate subjected to an axial load P and a moment M will be demonstrated here using the ETABS software. We have reviewed a set of analysis parameters, and this include the distribution of a bearing stress below the base plate, variation of a plate bending moments, anchor bolt tensions, and deformation profile to verify the plate assembly. So let us discuss about the problem data. So the column base plate layout is shown here. That is provided for a column HE260A. The various parameters associated with HE260A are: the width of the column flange is 260 mm, the depth of the section is 250 mm, the flange thickness is 12.5 mm, and the web thickness is 7.5 mm. The base plate thickness used is TPC to 25 mm. The base plate material will be S355, specified as per EC3 with a characteristic yield strength of 355 MPa. Anchor bolts will be of class 8.8, and we have used 6 numbers of M24 bolts for this problem, and the concrete grade will be C2025 as per EC2 with a characteristic cylindrical strength of 20 MPa. So as you can see that the base plate is of dimension 450 by 350 mm, and we have provided 3 numbers of bolts on each of the tension as well as the compression side, and the applied load P is taken as 400 kN and the applied moment M equal to 150 kN/meter. So the design shear V is not taken into consideration on the assumption that a shear key will be provided below the base plate to resist the applied shear. So for the present case, the load eccentricity E will be M by P, that's 375 mm. That is obviously greater than D by 6, that is 450 by 6 is equal to 75 mm. Accordingly, we conclude that the anchor bolts will be activated. That means under the applied load, the anchor bolts will be under tension. Okay, an important part of this analysis would be the characterization of the anchor bolt. Because we are performing a nonlinear static analysis, so it is important that we provide accurately the load deformation characteristics of the anchor bolt in tension. So the typical curve developed for the M24 bolt as per the standard procedure is shown over here. As you can see that along the x-axis it is the deformation in millimeters, and along the y-axis is the applied tensile load P in kilonewton. So as is clear, the yield load for the bolt is 162 kilonewton, whereas the ultimate tensile resistance of the bolt is 202 kilonewton. The associated deformations at the yield and the ultimate levels are considered as 0.6 mm and 2 mm. And remember that these are computed as per the standard practice or as per the prescribed procedure available in the literature. So this load deformation characteristics is applied onto the ETABS tutorial for defining the link properties associated with the anchor bolts. Okay, now let me show you to the ETABS model. So as you can see that it essentially consists of the 4 components. The first one is the column profile, that is HE260A. Then we have the base plate that is used using the shell formulation, and then the contact stress between the grout or the concrete and the base plate is simulated by means of the area springs. And then finally we have the important link elements. As you can see that I have provided altogether a total of 6 link elements, and these link elements will be representing the behavior of the anchor bolts in tension. Okay, so let me take you to the ETABS model in order to explain the various parameters used for the analysis. Okay, this is the ETABS 3D model for the column base plate assembly. So let me show you some of the parameters that is defined for the development of this model. So first, obviously we'll go straight to the material properties. Here you can see that I have defined a material property known as a steel. Let me show you the parameters. So here, as you can see, that the mass density is taken to 0, and the modulus of elasticity is taken as a 2 into 10 raised to 5 MPa. And we shall go for the definition of the base plate as well as the column profile cross sections. So we go straight to the slab sections to define the base plate. As you can see that we have defined a slab property known as a base plate. So let me show you the parameters. So the material is obviously steel, that is a predefined, and we have used a shell thin formulation for this base plate, and the thickness of the base plate, as you can see, that is 25 mm. Now next we shall proceed to define the wall properties for the column profile. So we'll go straight to the wall sections. Under wall sections, you will find that I have defined two properties. One is the flange and the other is the web. So let me show you the properties of the flange part. So as you can see that the material is steel. We have used a shell thin formulation, and the thickness of the flange is 12.5 mm. And coming to the web, everything remains the same. Only thing is that the thickness reduces from 12.5 to 7.5 mm. Now let me show you the properties of the area spring that is used to model the contact between the grout as well as the base plate. So we shall straight away go to the spring properties, define the area springs. So here you can find I have defined a property known as rigid spring. So the properties are defined with in the local 3 direction. We have assigned a very large modulus of subgrade reaction of 5E7 kN per meter cube. And remember, it's a nonlinear static analysis. Accordingly, we have to ensure that these springs are assigned compression only properties, so that as and when the tension develops, it shows the loss of contact of the base plate with the grout. So I think only one property is left, that is to define the so-called anchor bolts. So here the anchor bolts are specified through the link properties. So let me show you the link properties. So here, as you can see, that I have defined a link property known as a bolt rigid. So the various parameters are like this. So the link type shall be set as a multilinear elastic, because we are going to define the load deformation characteristics through 3 segments. So accordingly, it will be multilinear and elastic. And all other degrees of freedom associated with this link will be fixed except U1, wherein it is assigned a nonlinear behavior. And let me show you the properties that is associated with this U1 degree of freedom. So modifier. So here is the properties. So you can see that's a multilinear elastic, and this is the standard table, as you are aware, that is available to us for defining the multilinear force displacement relation. So here, for example, you can see that corresponding to 0 0, we have got a 1 point. Another point is the yield, that is 162 kilonewton, and the associated displacement is 0.6 mm, and corresponding to the ultimate, we have a load of 202 kilonewton, and the associated deformation is 2 mm. This is how we characterize the anchor bolt behavior in the ETABS. So now I think we are ready for the analysis. So we can straight away go for the analysis. It hardly takes, say, maximum 5 seconds, not more than that, because it's a very simple problem. And we'll be in a position to review the various results in the form of the contact stresses, bending moments, as well as the deformation behavior. So look here, this is the 3D behavior, the 3D deformation profile of the column, as it is very clear that on one side we have uplift of the base plate, and on the other side we have a compression. And now let me take you to better a cross section along the column web in order to visualize the deformation behavior. So I'll go to the elevation, and my grid point is 3. So apply, okay. So let me just press the deformation profile. So that's okay for me. Apply. So that's okay. So as you can see that this better defines along the column center line the deformation profile. So as you can see that under the effect of the applied load P and M, the column just rotates and it takes the base plate along with it. Now let me quickly show you the base plate bearing stress distribution. So for that I will have to take the plan, and the plan I will go to the base, apply, okay, and coming to the display the soil stresses, I'll go over here, the forces, the soil pressure. Yes, so here I would like to take it as some minus 20,000 is, I think that's a maximum one, minus 20,000, and here obviously I have to take it to 0 so that I will get a good contour plots. So yes, so this is a visualization. As you can see that the bearing stresses are concentrated under the compression flange, and here you'll find that it is a 0 because this area represents the total loss of contact, and all these diagrams will be explained again in the what we call as the presentation part. So let me just quickly show you the so-called M11 and M22 distribution. So I'll display, go again to the force distribution and the shell stresses. Let me select to the M11, and this should be obviously, let me take you to the proper values of the contour for the contour definition, minus 50 to, let me say that's a plus 50, that must be okay for me. Apply. Okay, so this is the distribution of the M11 diagram. As you can see that it is concentrated near the tension as well as the compression flanges, where obviously we expect the peak design values. And in a similar way, let me just show you also the M22 distribution. So that is here I will take it as M22, and I reduce this to because my values are around say 30 to plus 30 values. So 30, I will take 30. Apply. Okay, so here is the M22 distribution. So now let me take you back to the analysis presentation, wherein we will discuss in detail all these response parameters obtained from the analysis. Okay, fine. So let us start reviewing in detail the various ETABS results available to us. So the first one that we will focus on will be the distribution of the bearing stress under the base plate as shown below. Now let me provide you some of the observations obtained from this distribution. The first one is, as expected, a major portion of the base plate lose contact with the supporting grout or concrete, and this area is marked in this distribution diagram in blue color, and the bearing stress is concentrated under the compression flange of the column. So you can see very clearly that this area that is in blue, that is having a bearing stress of 0, which means that this much area has lost contact with the grout, and as is very clearly visible, the entire bearing stress is distributed just below the compression flange of the column. And now from this analysis we have obtained a maximum bearing stress of 19.3 MPa, and this works out to be less than the design joint bearing strength of 20 MPa, which is computed as per the EC2 provisions. Thus we find that the bearing stress check is satisfied. Now further, coming to the bearing stress distribution just below the compression flange, we find that the distribution follows a profile that covers or that moves around the compression flange over an effective width C measured from the flange face as stipulated in EC3. So that's all regarding the distribution of the bearing stress under the base plate. Okay, fine. So let me just take you to the deformed profile of the base plate. That is very important, and this will provide us enough confidence whether the applied loads as well as the modeling characteristics were sufficient or not. So as you can see that this is the behavior that is expected also under axial load P and moment M. As you can see that the column profile has rotated under the applied moment M, putting these three boards under tension, and as you can see that the base plate has taken a continuous profile under the applied moment P and M. Now here is shown for more clarity the elevation that is taken along the center line of the column, again providing the deformed profile. So these deformation profiles provide enough evidence that the applied loads and the modeling parameters are sufficient in order to yield us the reliable results. Now next, let me take you to the distribution of the bending moments in the plate. Obviously, we know that it's a shell element, and it will have two diagrams, that is a M11 diagram and M22 diagram, and the resultant M11 diagram is shown over here, and the maximum value noted is 56 kilonewton meter per meter. And next is the resultant M22 diagram with a maximum value of 26 kilonewton meter per meter. So that is important to note. These values are kilonewton meter per meter width of the plate. So let me provide you some of the observations obtained from these diagrams. The first one is the critical moment values as expected correspond to the flange or web faces. So as you can see that here, the flange face as well as the web face are the critical zones that provide us the design bending moments. So the maximum of M11 and M22 is 56 kilonewton meter, which is used for checking whether the provided base plate thickness is sufficient or not. And for the 25 mm thick plate we have provided here, the design bending strength works out to be 55.5 kilonewton meter. And remember that this is based on the yielding of the plate, and accordingly I have used the so-called plastic modulus of T square by 4. Therefore, we conclude from the distribution of the bending stress as well as the bending moment diagram or the M11 or and M22 distribution that the base plate size and the thickness are acceptable. Now, most importantly, let me also take you to the distribution of the forces in anchor bolts. So here is shown 3 bolts. So as you know that each of these link elements representing the bolt is also provided with the so-called unique name, and the bolts with a link name of K2, K4 and K6 are under tension, which is obviously on the tension side of the column. So as we can see that the tensions vary from 115.9 to 133.1 and again back to 115.9 kilonewton. Thus we can see that it's almost a uniform distribution of the tension across the various anchor bolts. So the observations that we obtained from this tabulated results, which is taken from the ETABS, is that the maximum computed tension T in the anchor bolt of 133.1 kilonewton, that is this 133.09, this is less than the design ultimate tensile resistance, which is calculated as per the EC3 provisions. You can use part 8 of EC3 for the calculation, and the ultimate design resistance of 203 kilonewton. Therefore, we conclude that the anchor bolts, which is specified in terms of the number and the diameter, are acceptable. Thus, using ETABS, we have efficiently carried out both the verifications for the base plate as well as the anchor bolts. So I think that that's all for this presentation. So as usual, kindly go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and if you have any queries, doubts or any prescriptions for improvement of this presentation, please let me know through the comment box. So have a nice day